Hey guys, what's going on? Trigger Happy John coming at you with another Summoner's Glory video. Guys, today we got a new Crystal Shop update. So for those of you who are not aware, every now and then we do get certain events in game. They do change the Crystal Shop when they do said events. Now, today's event, the targeted Crystal Shop Phantom is King Arthur. Now, up until recently, he hasn't been viable. So the purpose of this video today, guys, is going to be, I was lucky enough that actually, if I back out of here and kind of show you guys, good friend of mine, Hoofbite, actually was kind enough to let me borrow his account today. He already had King Arthur, and he went ahead and evoed him up to 5 for me, and then he reached out and said, hey, if you want to use my account to kind of showcase this Phantom, you can, and I greatly appreciate it. I also have him on my account. The difference is mine is only Evo 2 at the moment, so being as he's Evo 5, I feel like that's a good balance. It's a good stopping point as far as the Evo levels to see and actually test out this Phantom to see where he kind of stacks up within the game. Okay, guys, like I said, I mentioned the Crystal Shop. I probably should have shown you. So if you actually go into the store area and you go down to Phantoms, it'll default along this Essence tree here. These are for your buying your food with Essence of Life. Now, if you go into the Crystal Shop, here you can kind of see every Phantom that is available to buy. Now, something to note right now is Secret Dancer was not in the Crystal Shop. She is now. King Arthur was not in the Crystal Shop, but he is now. So the purpose of this video is going to kind of go over not only King Arthur, but also, what should you use your crystal shards on? As you can see here, Hoofbite, who I'm using his account, he's at 0 crystal shards. So he's unable to buy Secret Dancer or King Arthur at the current moment. Luckily, he had 1 King Arthur on his account prior to me recording this video. All right, guys, now that we have kind of the introduction and you kind of know what Phantom this is, let's go ahead and read over their kit and kind of go over my thoughts of their kit as we're reading it. So you will notice the A1 here. Arthur attacks 1 enemy and deals 100% physical damage with a 50% chance to taunt the enemy for 2 turns. Now, this is interesting, guys. So for those of you who are not aware of this mechanic, taunt is a provoke. It's a very good CC mechanic. So what this means is when he gets to attack, right, he's going to get a 50% chance to taunt the enemy for 2 turns. Now, this is an A1 ability. It has no cooldown. So this is a single target taunt, which could be booked up to damaging 130%, which is kind of meh. But taunt chance can increase to 100%. Now, with the taunt chance to increase to 100%, that means when whoever he attacks, as long as his accuracy check passes, he will taunt that single target for the 2 turns. Now, guys, this is pretty good. Let's go ahead and go into his A2, so to speak. Now, this is Arthur attacks an enemy 3 times in a row, causing 360% damage in a total, with an 80% chance of triggering Cleave of the Light. That causes 90% damage to all enemies and has 60% chance to taunt each enemy for 3 turns. Okay, so let's go over this again, guys. So attacks a single enemy, causing 360% damage. That's pretty high damage multipliers, guys. Now, damage in total with an 80%. So right here, 80% chance of triggering Cleave. So Cleave is a caveat of this ability. 80% chance, that'll cause 90% damage to all enemies and has a 60% chance to taunt each enemy for 3 turns. Okay, so let's break that down, guys. What that means is you will, essentially, when you use this ability, your targeted enemy is going to take the 360% damage. Once that has procced and done, then the 80% chance is going to come into play here of triggering Cleave, possibly, right? Then that's going to do 90% damage to all enemies, so an AoE. So you're going to single target, and then you're going to have an 80% chance to AoE damage, which 80% is pretty high. And then all enemies, and it has a 60% chance to taunt each enemy for 3 turns. So this means, so I like this, but I don't like this, and here's why, guys. So you have an 80% chance to proc the AoE. That's pretty, that's pretty reliable. I would say that's, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give that about an 8 as far as reliability, hence 80%. Now, when you look at the other part of the ability here, 90% damage to all enemies and has a 60% chance to taunt each enemy for 3 turns. Now, guys, this is only a 60% chance. Now, that's not that high, But caveat to that, it's for 3 turns. So if it does land, that is a massive amount of CC, guys. I mean, a massive amount of CC. So let's see what this book's up to. So we can book it up to, on a level 4, it looks like we can go, oh, disappeared off me. Causes 420% damage. So that's massive. So that's another 60% damage for your single target. Cleave of Light causes 120% damage. So that means the AoE is now 120%. Not the greatest, but it's something. And 100% chance to taunt. Okay, so here lies the savior to this ability. So if you book up the A2 all the way down to the 100% chance to taunt, that means you now have a crap load of damage you're doing to that single target. On top of the crap load of damage you're going to do to that single target, you're also going to be relying on the what is this? The 80% chance to trigger cleave. And like I was saying before, 80% is a pretty good chance to proc that taunt. Now that the taunt's going to be 100% when fully booked, now that is some control. That is a much better. What's the word I want to look at? What I want to say here? It's a lot more CC on the enemy phantoms than what you're going to see in normal phantoms, such as Haley with Headcracker set and so on and so forth. So I really, really like what this ability has to offer. All right, guys, let's get into the next ability here. So let's see here. His next ability is a passive. Okay. At the start of the battle, Arthur announces his rightful claim to the crown, permanently decreasing all incoming damage against him by 50%. This buff cannot be removed or dispelled by any means. Okay. So what that means is it's a damage mitigation. So for those of you, so I'm very familiar with other games back in the day, where you have a lot of damage mitigation. You have just plain old ignore damage, so on and so forth. Now, what this means is that as soon as Arthur is thrown in the battle, he is permanently, that's right, permanently, because it cannot be dispelled by any means, going to decrease all incoming damage against him by 50%. That can be booked up to a damage reduction increase to 65%. Now, keep in mind, guys, he's still going to take damage. So what that means is, so say, for example, we'll use his own ability. Say another King Arthur were to hit him with this Royal Edge, and King Arthur was targeted at the 360% here. What that means is the overall battle after, or the overall damage with a crit attack is going to be reduced by that amount. So you take that overall damage number, right, which is going to be translated into, you know, however many thousands, millions, so on and so forth, depending on how high or how strong the enemy phantom attacking him. And that means that damage number overall is going to then be reduced by said percentage. So it can get a little tricky here. So it's not like it's not too overpowered, but it's still very, very good, because as long as you get him tanky enough, he'll be able to take some hits, guys. He'll be able to take some hits for sure. Now, his last ability here, Arthur has a 25% chance to retaliate when being attacked, counterattacking enemy for 400% damage with his triple combo. Wow. Okay, so let's think about this guy. So he's gonna taunt. He's a provoke phantom. He's a provoke specialist. So he's gonna go in. He's gonna proc his A2 first with his AI. He's gonna go in. He's gonna hopefully provoke the whole team. Now, what that means is whenever they do get a turn, if they get a turn, they're only going to attack King Arthur. They're not going to attack the rest of your phantoms unless their default skill is an AoE, such as Zeus, who would attack the entire phantom lineup. So his provoke's kind of limited as far as that goes. It's not going to help you against AoE champions like Zeus, for example. But the caveat to this is, okay, so every time he gets attacked, now he has a 25% chance to retaliate when being attacked. And he's going to counterattack an enemy for 400% damage with this triple combo. So, guys, that's a lot of damage. 400%, that's no joke. Now, as you can see here, you can counterattack chance increase to 60%. Now, that's pretty good overall. So one thing I'm noticing, I like his kit. I like how his kit synergizes. I could think of a lot of different meta ways to build him. but a lot of these abilities are really dependent upon you being able to fully book them. Given that he's 5 crystal shards in the shop right now, that's pretty hefty, to be 100% honest, guys. So I don't know yet how viable it's going to be. What we're going to do is we're going to take him into a few things and we're going to play with them and kind of go over it. I will show you real quick. His base speed is 339. That's kind of low, guys. So you, obviously being a provoke champion, you want him to go fast. Let's see. Hoofbite said he got his immunity to level 2. He couldn't quite get to level 3 yet. Level 3 is about what you shoot for on immunity because you want that additional 30%. But that's okay. Like I said, we're at Evo 5. I feel like this is a good benchmark. Evo 5 is a very achievable for most new players, and it's achievable fairly quickly. So the purpose of this is we have a lot of new players and not a lot of new influx, and they need to know what they need to do with King Arthur and how to use them. So this is also going to double up as far as my build guide for King Arthur as well. Okay, guys, like I said, I do feel like King Arthur is a little slow. I did just double check to see where he lands up in the formation. I'm going to run him in the Ankaris Secret Dancer King Arthur's Sea Conqueror formation. And the reason why I'm going to do this is Sea Conqueror is initiator. She's going to do turn meter manipulation for your team, as well as lower the enemy's turn meter or battle meter, however you refer to it as, which is very key, right? As part of that, is also going to boost King Arthur's speed. Well, so I did want to showcase here, guys. If you go into and you look at his speed, he's at 339 speed. Now, your initiator here, she's at 345, just a little faster, about 6 speed faster. Drakai, who's another good, he's not so much an initiator as well as he is attack bar down phantom. He's at 358, which is substantially higher. But then you get into the DPS here, guys, and I mean, he's not that slow compared to some of the DPS. Secret Dancer has a very high base speed to begin with in the first place. And Zeus, who's another one that I commonly use as far as DPS goes. And as you can see here, he does kind of stack up fairly well as far as speed. But I do feel, the nature of the beast, you do need to have him with a lot of speed. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the runes and see what we want to do. So it looks like Hoofbite had him and Headcracker. I know he was working on him. Yep, yeah, he said he did test him out just a little bit for some fun. I kind of want to see what he's got on him here and kind of go from there. So we got a speed Headcracker with no double speed. But as you can see here, guys, he's low on gold, so he's probably just throwing something together really quickly to try to get a semi baseline. We're not critting, which is kind of okay. Now, he is going to do a lot of damage, so I would think crit rate would probably be an important skill to prioritize on him. I think what I want to see is let's set him up here to do. Here, let's see if we got something we can rob real quick, guys. We may not. Okay, so we got something here. So we got Squall. Harvest, all speed substat. Okay. So right now, guys, all I'm looking for is speed. And I do apologize because obviously, you know, this isn't going to be the best absolute guide for him. But I'll kind of walk through you what I'm looking for and why I'm looking for it. So I'm going to go ahead and take some of these runes off of Dracula Eye here. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I know he has the other DPS built correctly or as accurately as he feels, which is perfectly fine. I know Hoofbite pretty well. He's very knowledgeable when it comes to the game. So let's go ahead and get some of these speed put in here. So ideally, I would have liked to have had 4 harvest here, and then probably a set of spines. Now we do have 1 spine here. Okay, speed, double speed. We'll go ahead and pop that in there. We've got to kind of keep an eye out and see if we can get 1 more spine. So we've got 1 here, but we need speed. We need a double speed roll. Actually, that spine he's got on there is probably going to work just fine. That gives us our 2 spines. The reason why I say 2 spines, guys, is because it does the increase max HP by 25%. Since we're going to be using him as a tank or provoke champ, you want as much HP as you can. Now, the reason why I want to go harvest the rest is, like I said, I want him to go fast and I want him to be able to cycle through his abilities. So it does look like we are pretty limited as far as our runes go, but that's okay. Ideally, you want to roll this up so that way you can definitely meet your accuracy checks, but that's okay. Like I said, for the purpose of this video, it's not the end of the world. So let's see if we can keep going and find some more harvest runes that have a speed substat on them. No. Guys, I can't wait for them to come out with some sort of filtering system. Okay, so this is the speed here. And like I said, guys, this is going to be a very rough estimate. It's not going to, so don't take this as the final to do. Kind of use your own thoughts and opinions when it comes to how I've built them and what my goal is here. But yeah, what I'm mainly looking for here, guys, is I'm looking for, so this is like an HP rune. So I want a double HP, preferably with some speed or physical attack. It does not look like we may not get that right off the bat. There's one with physical attack with double speed, which is, or double HP, which is good. The reason why I say double HP is because you always want to kind of stack up your substats with your main stat on your runes, because that is a caveat of having to be able to play this. He is doing physical damage, so you want him to be able to counter with physical damage as well. So that one had speed, but it was a min roll. Okay, here we go. We lose the extra HP roll, but we gain physical attack plus speed. So we're going to take that one. And then last but not least, we need one more harvest. And the reason why we're going to go with one more harvest, guys, is because if you look at the set bonus for harvest, you get, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong set. You get a increased speed by 10%, which is a huge and massive speed bonus, as well as with the 2 item effect, you get plus 12% crit rate, which is also very, very helpful for what we're trying to do. And like I was saying, guys, this is physical attack, so we just need to look for a physical attack rune. Being as this game is so new in its infancy, it doesn't surprise me that we don't have the exact runes on the account that we really need. Like I said, guys, that's perfectly fine. We're just going to do this as a very, very broad overview. So it looks like I'm not going to be able to get the physical attack one I want. But what I can get is some HP and a little bit of crit rate here. Even though I could come up here and grab this last speed with crit damage. You know what, guys? Let's go with the speed. Let's see what that gives us total for speed-wise. So it's going to give us a plus 68 speed. Not terrible, not the best. Let's go with the stats here. So we got plus 68. HP, he's going to be pushing, what is this? Math is hard, guys. Math is hard. Almost 500, or yeah, just over 500k HP, which is quite a bit. His physical defense and magic defense, they're about even here, which is good. That's what you kind of want to see in a top champion, guys. So the stats that you're really looking for on him are going to be his physical attack, his HP. You want to scale as high as possible. He needs speed, and you want to kind of keep your defenses even. And that's because as you're doing wave battles, as you're doing any other type of battles, you need to make sure that the defense level is equal. So that way you're not getting one shot by one particular like physical attacker or magic attacker. Demon Tower. Now, Demon Tower is pretty hard to traverse. On my main account, I have not made it to 200 quite yet. I probably could if I was willing to manual it a lot. I really honestly don't. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I want to see all auto completion done for sure. Let's see here. So we have level 200 to challenge. Let's see. Let's just see what we can use in here and see how it goes. Now you will notice that the enemy team here is using a King Arthur. Now, with that being said, you got to play a little smart. So let's go ahead and reduce their turn meter. Okay. Or their attack bar, sorry. Now let's provoke and let's focus down their King Arthur. Oof. Yeah, one shot. So yeah, this is no joke, guys. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and end this run. That was kind of a rip. I was really hoping that I was gonna be able to showcase his the CC, but unfortunately I could not. Let's go ahead and look and see where else could we go to kind of showcase what his abilities are. What's an area that's going to be harder? I guess we'll go ahead and take him into some warrants, guys. Let's go. Let's go Ghost Vault. We're gonna burn a little bit of energy, a little bit of vigor for Hoof, unfortunately. Let's go normal and see what we can do here. So we're gonna drive here. Let's go ahead and hit these bosses and see what kind of damage we get, as well as how well that taunt works. So what we're looking for here is a little bit of sustain. On top of a little bit of sustain, we're also looking for, let's go ahead and just throw this on auto, guys. Shouldn't lose these battles on normal, I don't think. It's really going to depend on how well King Arthur does with his taunts. So let's see. Okay, he landed taunt, which is good. Now we're not going to be able to CC the entire squad here. So let's go ahead and single target the ones that aren't taunted right now. Oh man, and Karis just comes in and clears. Okay, so the taunt worked here, so that was good. Now this is allowing the DPS to stay alive, not take any damage. So far, so good. Keep in mind, this is only boss one, guys. There's other bosses. We really need to see what happens at the very end to see how well it's going to be worth it. So you can see here, the taunt has 1 turn left. He doesn't have an AoE. If he did get a turn, he would have attacked here. We would have been fine. Now, guys, you can't take this build as a perfect build because, like I said, he didn't have enough gold to roll up those runes. But he's fast. He's decently fast, in my opinion, to where it's going to make it somewhat beneficial to go ahead and check him out. So let's see what else we get here. Now we know in this one, Dracula Eye really, really hurts you. So we really need him to go and taunt right from the get-go. So perfect. He's going to hopefully land. Okay, so we procced the taunt here and here. All right, get them taken out. Let's take out the Lunar Goddess. The Puppeteer is still probably going to do some damage to us, unfortunately. Let's see what happens. Yeah, we're going to take out the Secret Dancer from the non-taunted. So interesting here, guys. So she's taunted, and yet she still was able to use her A3 ability to raise Lunar Goddess. So that throws up some red flags. Ideally, when you're taunted, they can only use their A1. She should not be able to raise anybody because she's taunted, right? That should be pretty much self-explanatory as far as that goes. There should be no reason whatsoever. Now you did see he did proc the counterattack, which is nice. So Puppeteer has a nasty ability where she will self-heal. But I'm kind of bummed out, guys. I gotta tell you, I was expecting more from this taunt, and I don't know if it's coded correctly. So I'm a little bummed. Ideally, that taunt, like I said, Puppeteer would not have been able to raise the enemy, and this probably would have been GG easy, and we would have been done with. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to clutch this through. Oh, yeah, we did. Okay. And Karis came in clutch. Luckily, had the Evo 7 in Karis. Let's go ahead and I guess we'll keep progressing and see how well this works out. But like I said, it does not seem like the taunt is working exactly like it should. The damage mitigation did work. He did not take nearly as much damage as he should have. He should have been one shot there with his current stats for sure. He was not one shot, so that's a good sign. So let's keep going with it and see what happens here. Now, this last fight, I highly doubt we'll be able to do anything with it. So he did proc his counterattack, which is kind of nice. Now, he did not taunt Jester, but 2 Darkness Worshippers got taunted, and the Dracula I was targeting did get taunted, which is nice. So see here, he's taunted. He did his counterattack. That's kind of how we wanted to see him work. So it does look like the taunt worked correctly on the Darkness Worshippers. It just unfortunately did not work correctly on Puppeteer. This could be a glitch within the system as far as just Puppeteer goes. We don't really know. Let's go ahead and keep going with this fight. So you can see here, Jester is taunted. Once again, single target here. King Arthur fought back. Now, like I was saying, his damage multipliers are high enough to where if you get him with crit rate, that counterattack would be hugely beneficial. hugely beneficial. All right, guys, we're at the last boss for the Ghost Vault. Keep in mind this is on normal mode, so this isn't going to be like a GG easy clap for hard mode right now, not with how King Arthur is currently built. But I did kind of want to just showcase, see how far we could actually make it on normal mode with King Arthur. His taunt ability did actually help us by quite a lot, to be perfectly fair and honest. I don't think we got the stuff to pull it out. We don't, so we can't beat it on normal. But guys, keep in mind, all of them were tauntable, so that wasn't a failure on King Arthur and a CC. That was more of a failure on me, because I didn't have him geared properly and I didn't have his runes rolled up properly. I would say at the end of the day, he's probably still okay. He's beneficial. But let's go ahead and let's get out of this instance, guys, and I will we'll go over his kit again just a little bit, maybe suggest a few little tweaks and kind of go from there. All right, we're back, guys. So after we did a little bit of testing, we saw he's not really viable in Demon Fortress, so you're not going to be using King Arthur to help you farm for runes. With that being said, any AoE A1s, his taunt's not going to do you a whole lot of good, which also leads me to just general farming. You're probably not going to use him. Now, if you wanted to use him to clear the higher level, higher tier content, I do believe he could be viable. Now, here's why. So you saw the current formation. I definitely do not disagree with this formation. The only thing I would like to see maybe a little different is I would maybe suggest running Enkaris, maybe a Goddess Zoe, so that way you get the passive heals for the entire squad. That'll also help with King Arthur getting healed. And Sea Conqueror you definitely want, because you want that initiator. The other thing that I would also suggest is right now I have him in non-rolled up harvest gear for speed, with spine for his HP boost. One other potential piece of gear that, or rune that you could put on, is going to be, let's see if he has it. It does not. So there's battle wounded, and then there's also self-healing. Self-healing could be beneficial with, say, spines or a harvest 2-piece set for the crit rate. The reason being is with the self-healing, you get the 50% extra max HP boost, as well as you're going to heal for the 10% maximum health. Now, if you have got a Zoe in the lineup, plus this, plus the extra HP here, and with 2 spines, that's going to be a total of about 40% extra HP. That's going to heal at least 10% of their overall, as well as 14% from Ghana. So you could make him very, very viable as a tank, but he's going to need the speed and he's going to need the defense. Do I think right now that is possibly meta and really worth it? I do not. Would I suggest buying him for the 5 crystal shards? I would. And here's why. So just to get him for 1, so that way you do have him. You saw him unbooked. He could be beneficial if we actually geared him properly. Ideally, you need a lot of them. He is super rare in Epic Books. I was able to pull my King Arthur out of Epic Books. I've only pulled 1 so far, and I've pulled about 2,000 Epic Books. But just like any gacha game, any collector game, you want at least 1 of every Phantom. Ideally, you want to see all these get boosted. The biggest things that you need to keep in mind of, and you want to see, so let's say you're going to go ahead and whale out, you're going to pull a bunch of Epic Books to get a bunch of crystal shards. The biggest thing that you're going to want booked on him is his A2. You want that AoE provoke. And I would also say this counterattack. So this passive right here, so that way you can get the 60% chance of counterattack, okay? Now, his other passive would also be super helpful, because it's going to be less damage it's going to take. And really, even his A1 would be somewhat helpful, but really not critical to have booked, guys. I would say anywhere between A2 to A4, prioritizing the A2 and the A4 as what you book if you get a chance. So, like, maybe don't take all of them and book them at once. Kind of roll 1 in, see where it lands. Roll 1 in, see where it lands. And that's kind of the skills that you want to get boosted as quickly as you can if you're going to use them. But yeah, guys, like I said, it's not the best test in the world, but it tested. I can see and justify myself owning one. and I will probably build mine up a little bit to see what happens when Takmir comes out, because I feel like once we get the harder instances, we will need a tank that will become a new meta. I do like how they fixed his kit. He was pretty meh beforehand, and now I feel like he's a lot better. I would have liked to have seen his health be just a little higher to start with, as well as the speed. I can't gripe on him too much for the speed, just because he is a tank, right? You don't normally want your tanks to go super fast. In this case, you do, because you want him to get that provoke off, because he's going to have the provoke up long enough to where you're going to keep recycling it and then give him a perpetual CC loop, which is exactly what you need to let your damage dealers go in and go ham. So guys, that's going to do it for the video. Once again, thank you, Hoofbite, for letting me borrow your account to kind of showcase King Arthur. I do appreciate it, man. And until next time, guys, peace.